Okay, so let's talk about Terrifier 2 and its mid-credit scene, which I think is definitely something that's going to have a lot of people talking about this Halloween, because yes, Terrifier 2 will be on streaming on Screambox come Halloween, so all of you rejoice who have not been able to catch it because maybe it wasn't playing at a certain time or a theater you were at. This movie is coming to streaming, so rejoice. Let's talk about it. We've already talked about the ending, and I briefly touched upon the mid-credit scene there, but I'm going to be making a couple more videos talking about this, especially now that it's going to be on streaming. We'll be able to dissect more of it. So next week, we got a ton of videos coming for Terrifier 2. But before we get any further into it, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. We're still running our giveaway where all you have to do is make sure you're subscribed and commenting down below that you want to enter the giveaway, and that gets you an entry. We'll give you some movie stuff and all of that. We'll talk more about that. You have until October 29th, however, to enter. So make sure you're subscribing and commenting below. But let's get into Terrifier 2's post-credit scene, which is setting up a good, like, Terrifier 3, honestly, with a lot of mythology and lore. So at Fantastic Fest, the movie actually was there. It was playing and everything. There was a cutout of Art the Clown there as well, which was something I should have taken a picture with, but then when I was like, I'll take it after I watch this movie, and then I came out of that movie, it was gone. I was not able to take a picture, and I was just sad because I had missed Terrifier 2 playing in theaters there, and I had missed taking a picture with the cutout. So anyways, all of that aside, let's talk about this mid-credit scene, which sets up Terrifier 3. So as we know in Terrifier 2, we have set up a mythology of sorts for Art the Clown, as well as Sienna, our final girl. And it sort of is this like demon versus angel type of vibe going on, right? Like where we have Sienna being this like more than just a human. She is like inhabited by a sort of like angelic presence to her. And at the same time, you have Art the Clown, who is inhabited by a demonic being of sorts as well, because we know Art the Clown seems to be immortal at this point now, because we saw him in the first Terrifier get killed, and then he was revived through some like weird spell or whatever you want to call it, some presence that was a darkness, and we saw him come back to life in this movie as well. And we know that Sienna has some supernatural abilities to her as well, because we saw the dream sequence where it sort of translated into real life, and that gave me some Nightmare on Elm Street vibes, where I was thinking maybe Art the Clown, some type of Freddy vibe to him. And you know what, the demons and everything, it could work in that same manner. But then we also got the storyline with Sienna's father as well, where there was this whole thing, he was sort of attached to Art the Clown for some reason, but at the same time the presence that helped Sienna as well was something that the father had also drawn up in his art. And art is Art the Clown, and art was made into art by her father. You know, we're getting into all of these theories and speculations. I mean, even a big theory that people have is that Art the Clown is actually Sienna's father, or just the negative and evil part of him of sorts. You know, I could definitely see that theory panning out true as well, but I think it's more along the lines of he sort of created these two entities and now they're fighting against each other. Imagine if it's all taking place in his head as well. Anyways, this video is about the end credit scene. We can talk about theories and speculations if y'all want. Let's get into that mid-credit scene where we saw Vicky return. So as you know, in the first Terrifier, we have Victoria, who was the sister who was going to go and pick up the other sister and the friend who got terrorized by Terrifier, by Art the Clown. Terrifier terrorizing. I like that. But anyways, let's talk about Victoria, who we saw. I honestly, at the end of the first Terrifier, I didn't even think she was going to be the mauled woman at the beginning of the movie. And when we finally saw that Art was sort of like chewing on her face and whatever, we now see that she has become this mauled woman who at the beginning of the movie went on to attack the woman hosting her and everything, and sort of like become deranged of sorts, and we didn't know why, right? So as we get into this movie Terrifier 2 to its ending, and we get to this mid-credit scene, we see that Vicky is sort of having a withdrawal of sorts, where she is like maybe envisioning, having these visions of sorts, and she's writing on the walls and everything, like Vicky and Art and the heart and all of that, and then she just starts spazzing out and in pain and agony as she seems to be giving birth to something. And I was like, okay, it's going to be a little Art the Clown, right? And no, it was actually the head of Art the Clown. As we know, at the end of the climatic battle in Terrifier 2, Sienna was able to use the sword that sort of had this like angelic power to it to be able to decapitate Art, in which we thought, this is it. It's over. Art the Clown is dead. Well, like I said, Damien Leone talked about this during Fantastic Fest, where he said No, we're just laying down the groundwork for Terrifier lore and universe and all of that. Art the Clown, Sienna. We're going to keep building these movies out, and it's going to be something big and epic. Well, it sounds like it's an epic showdown between good and evil as we're getting closer and closer to new movies, because it seems that now Art the Clown is able to sort of attach himself to his victims. And this was something that we figured out as well with the pale little girl who was following Art around. And as we found out throughout the research that the brother was doing, is that that was probably his first victim, and so that sort of created a link of sorts between him and her soul, or just in appearance of her, and he's able to use her to manipulate things. As we saw, she was able to do the voice of the brother to lure the sister out and all of that. So we know that Art has some sort of connection to Vicky now that he has sort of imprinted on her of sorts, and so it could be a way for him to be reborn now again as this head after what Sienna did to him, and now he probably will be seeking revenge on Sienna for this. So I thought that it's an interesting way to sort of connect things here. I think that Vicky is going to be an important character as we get further into the lore and we see more of her be used by Art, now that Art seems to try and find a way to sort of use his resources, victims of sorts, to keep coming back. We don't know if there is a specific way to kill him. Maybe it'll be something more along the lines of a legend we learn about him in the next movie. Like, he could definitely have something that traces back to back in the day, like old, like thousands of years of sorts. And Sienna's character as well could have been battling each other all this time, and now it's sort of this like manifestation that they are now, this like final girl and this clown coming head to head to sort of have this epic conclusion to a showdown that might have started like thousands of years ago. So that's an interesting way to think about it, and I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on it. But definitely, I think Art the Clown is using Victoria as sort of this link into the physical world to manifest himself and come back each and every time. I don't know if that was the case in the first Terrifier. At the end, maybe it was something else entirely. But now I think that this link between him and Victoria is going to grow. So I very much so believe in Terrifier 3, Victoria will have a larger role to play, and we might even get into the backstory of Art the Clown. As you know, Pennywise as well, I'm not trying to compare them, but it sort of is like an old type of like monster of sorts that is prehistoric and all of that. We could see the same thing with Art, or they could take it back to like the 1400s, maybe a little older than that. I don't know. It's interesting. There's a lot of things up for debate, but we'll talk more about Terrifier 2 this week. I do have another video I want to do. Then we're going to check out Terrifier 2 once it's streaming, and then we can talk more as we get more clues about it all. Right now, Barbarian is streaming on HBO, so if you want something to watch, I might do a watch party. If y'all are interested in a watch party, let me know in the comments below, and we might set something up. But as always, that's going to do it for me. Like I said, make sure you subscribe to enter the giveaway. Hit the notification bell to know when the winner gets announced, which will be October 31st during your live stream. So it's going to be fun, and as always, that is going to do it for me. We're on the road to 50,000 subscribers. Let's get to it. We're about to reach 26,000. Really excited for that. I'll see you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.